with that, good morning, nerds.
We're not morning. This is like 1 o'clock, dude.
Good afternoon.
How about you just say hi next time?
Hello, Internet.
Good morning, good
Welcome to
afternoon,
Vagabond
good
Nerds.
evening,
Oh my God.
wherever you may be.
All right,
Sean, did I tell you I missed you these past 6 weeks?
I missed both of you, as odd as that sounds.
Sean's not missing. I mean, Jason's not missing you at
I don't
all.
know why
I'm not missing any of you right now.
I said that, but I don't think I really mean it.
I don't think so.
I don't think I mean it.
I
Hi,
missed
guys.
you. What's up,
Yeah.
baby?
It's been a while.
Missed you?
I missed you too, Cupcake. How you doing?
Not too shabby.
Fantastic.
You
What about you?
you good? Where'd you go?
We went to Arizona. I mean, not for the full 6 weeks. We live in America.
Right.
So I only went. We only went somewhere for. It was like a week and a half.
Right.
But then everything else happened coming back, Halloween and everything, getting
Right.
ready for that. So the
Yeah,
fair was here, and I know everybody
Did you
had
go?
to take their kids. We did not go. Man, I haven't been to the fair in, like
A long
10
time.
years. It's probably been 10 years. The OG Big Tex was still around, which I
Oh,
guess
wow,
hasn't
yeah.
been that long.
You hadn't
since-
burned to the ground yet?
When did he
Yeah.
burn down? Was that 2 years ago?
No, it was like 3 years ago now.
That's still not very far. It's still not very
3
far.
or 4 now that I think about
Yeah.
it.
But
I don't know.
no, I haven't been in
Right.
like 10 years. So, we just
weird.
we had stuff to do around the house. We had a great vacation, and now we've been back for a while. Had a hell of a Halloween party.
It was. I enjoyed it.
I was in Killeen, Texas, for KeyCon.
Sorry.
That's right, you were.
Yeah.
Oh,
You had
no,
some-
not
you
about
had
Keycon,
some-
but Killeen.
Yeah. Well, it was fun
What's
times
wrong
had
with
by all.
Killeen, Texas?
Have you been to Killeen, Texas?
No.
Okay, then.
All right. Well, I'll reserve my judgment for the time I do visit.
Yeah.
It's a nice town.
It was. Yeah. It was a
Unlike
nice
what
time.
I'm going to do today
Well,
on this show.
How about this? They actually had alcohol served there.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's impressive.
At the convention?
Oh yeah.
You can drink alcohol at most conventions.
No, what he means is Killeen actually had a convention that served alcohol at it.
Oh, you just don't
Yeah.
take your own.
No.
I
Catch
gotcha.
up. Catch
Yeah.
up. Come on.
Mustard.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, mustard's really the way to go.
Well, on a hot dog, yeah.
Yeah, mustard's really the way
Yeah.
to go.
Corn dog, hot dog,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely either one.
burger.
Actually, even on a corn dog, I would be so far as to say honey mustard's also acceptable.
I love the fact that we're pissing off Jason and probably most
I
of our
give it up.
2 viewers.
What the odd thing is that we're
Here's the
talking.
thing. At
we're
some
talking
point, I
about
should
hot
stop them and
dogs,
stop them.
and
But I'm
yet
not going to do this. I'm going to let
he's-
them keep going.
He's getting if he's getting upset about hot dogs. Jason, how is your diet going? Is that why you're upset? Because we're talking about hot dogs?
Actually, I'm getting ready to step it up another notch next week.
and just end the hot dogs altogether?
Increase the cardio, introduce intermittent fasting, and reduce down the calorie count one more step.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
it's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
So am I.
Congratulations.
Are we done being stupid? Can we start talking
No.
about what we want to talk about today?
We're never done being stupid.
This is
Yeah, that's the
True.
entire show, right? Is us being stupid.
I know.
Anyway,
Jansen,
I'm
how are
training-
you doing?
I'm training for knife and death.
Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, hey, before we start, Dallas on Air, they do a little thing. Jansen
Thank
and
you
Kat
for
do a
bringing
little
this
thing.
up. Yes.
Guys, this coming up on Christmas.
It is.
There are people who are not fortunate enough to get a Christmas like everyone else does. And because of that, we have our very own hero in the studio that gets all Spider-Man'd up, and they take presents to inner city children for Christmas. And it's
right.
probably one of the most noble things I've ever seen or looked at that happens.
I think it's cool, man. I mean, I can only imagine being a kid in that situation. We didn't at my house. I was lucky if I got a present at Christmas. There was 5 of us, and I'm a single mom. So, growing up, it's like most of the time you were happy to get one present and then some stuff in your stocking.
Yeah.
A candy, some candy, an orange, an apple, and some random
Yeah.
nuts at the bottom of the stocking. That was like what we always got. Oh, and a toothbrush. My mom always got us a toothbrush. But still, having Spider-Man show up and give you gifts, like, dude, that would be amazing.
But it doesn't work without support and
That's
without donations. Jansen, if they're so inclined, where would they donate?
So we have a GoFundMe set up, which is completely barren. There's no one's using it, but that's okay because we also have a Facebook donation set up, and so I guess just go to my Facebook, Jedi Jansen, and it's right there on the front page. We've been sharing it and keeping it public, so it's really easy to donate. And yeah, we're looking for 2,000, and we're up to like 700. Which is really cool. Sounds like a lot, but honestly, $700 goes really, really
Dude,
quick.
for toys,
absolutely it
yeah,
does.
for toys, that's gonna go quick. Because I mean, you're thinking what, like $25 usually per toy, $20 per toy.
And we try to give depending on what we get, we try to give like at least 2 toys a kid.
Yeah,
And our biggest thing is we don't ever want to get to an area where there's like we get swarmed by 10 kids and then we run out and then we had to go, oh, sorry,
Yeah,
you
that's
just
hard,
saw
man.
like 8 kids get toys, but now we don't have anything for you.
yeah.
So we keep that in mind, and then we also keep in mind like older kids. We don't want to be giving a Barbie to a 15-year-old girl,
Right.
So
Jason still likes those, by the way.
I do.
Well,
They're
there you
well
go.
made.
So even if people don't want to donate money, we are always just taking toys. We have a drop that we're setting up at Kat's work. She works at Hand and Stone Spa.
Very cool.
Off
I was
of,
gonna ask about
McKinney.
that. Yeah. Very cool.
So just follow our Facebook page, and that's there you go.
Awesome.
So please bring a little bit of light into some kid's life this Christmas.
Did we share that on Vagabond?
We have
yet?
shared it.
We shared it.
I was
at
actually
least
trying to
once,
share it
right?
one more time.
We've shared it, but
Okay.
we're going to continue to
We'll
share
We'll
it.
keep pushing
Facebook
it.
is outsmarting me
Yeah.
this morning.
All right.
Well,
Well,
that's not hard to do.
Way to go,
really not.
John Connor. Which reminds me, we will get to
We
that
will get to
review
that.
here in a little bit.
We will get to that.
I
Review.
was wondering
So,
when
all right,
you were going to
so
use that.
today we're going to talk about Dark Fate, right? We're going to talk about the review of that. We're also going to talk about some random stuff. We're going to talk about the Spider-Man comic a little bit.
Yes.
Let's do that real fast. Let's do that before we get
Well,
to the review.
but what else are we talking about besides that? Or we're going to try to talk about Spider-Man, some Batman stuff coming up
with Jensen Ackles.
With Jensen Ackles. What
And
else
then,
are we doing?
we got Terminator Dark Fate. Then I think at that point, let's just talk about Halloween, our favorite movie monsters. I mean,
I don't even think we're going to get there
I don't
because
think
I'm
we'll
going
even
to.
get
think
there. That's what I'm
Terminator's
saying.
gonna
Yeah.
take
I
a
think
while?
Terminator. I'm going to spend some time shitting on this movie like it shit on the franchise.
I might like to have some. I might like to have a little roundtable ask of what everybody's currently watching on like Netflix and Prime
That's
and
fine,
stuff,
we're
just to
good.
say, hey, what's everybody into? Maybe share some underrated stuff that you might be watching that other people aren't. Maybe spread that around a bit.
Awesome.
Okay, let's
All right,
go.
so let's
go with
talk.
this.
So
Yeah, what do you
first things first, right? Jensen Ackles did Halloween and did it upright as Batman.
And so, for those of you who don't know, Jensen Ackles is one of the 2 brothers from Supernatural.
You got
correct?
it. He's Dean.
He's Dean. Okay.
Right.
Okay. The short-haired little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
right.
But
The
by
tight cropped.
by far, if the CW does a Batman show,
Yeah.
please get the costume designer who did this costume and get Jensen Ackles
Yeah.
in that suit because this is a Batman I would watch.
We posted this.
We haven't posted
We haven't posted
the
it
pictures yet. But
It's
we are
showing
showing it
now, but
right
it's-
now.
but
But
I'll- okay,
yeah,
yeah,
but I'll post some pictures as well,
And
just so everyone gets a chance.
It is probably also one of the more tactical type
Yeah.
suits that
It
I've
definitely
seen.
is tactical. The thing I gotta say about it, you wouldn't think of it when you see his face, but when you see his face in the mask, he has got the perfect like jaw and lips and mouth. He looks like one of those.
He looks like
statues.
Batman.
No, he looks like one of those. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
one of the statues, one of the-
like the one you have.
Yeah.
You've got one of those ones where it's the really fancy detail, almost like a Todd McFarlane-esque
He
type
he
of,
just
you know,
he exudes Batman.
he exudes.
If I'm
He
the
exudes
CW,
Batman.
you already have this great, fantastic crossover coming in December with Infinite Crisis.
with Crisis, right?
Drop him in as Batman, please.
Just as a fun, like a nod to hey,
even if
check
it's
him out and
just
maybe
a
see.
flash of, who's
Uh-huh,
that?
see
That's
what you did
Batman.
there.
Yeah, you see
Yeah.
that? It's just a flash.
Well
But
done.
Arrow seems to be wanting to go out on top. They've had some really good shows.
Yeah.
And this is, of course, they're being their last season with a pilot episode that's going to be for the Canaries.
Oh yeah, I saw something on that.
I'll share it later.
So basically, it'll be called Green Arrow and the Canaries. It won't be Stephen Amell. It'll actually
No.
It's
be
gonna be the daughter.
You'll
yeah.
be the character's daughter. And if you haven't
okay.
caught the episodes lately, they've done a lot of, because of the Flash, because of Crisis, they've been going back and forth in time a lot.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that play out right now. The Flash is probably on one of their best seasons.
Yeah.
Really? That's surprising.
That is surprising, and I
Okay.
didn't think last year was pretty good. This year,
I'm
doggone
trying
it,
to-
I thought this last year was a little weak. It had its high points, but I thought it was weak. But this
who's
one's
the
back
one-
on top.
Remind me again, who plays who plays Joe?
Oh, I can't. You know I'm bad with names.
But
oh,
but
yeah.
the father Joe.
the father.
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't
he
know.
is excellent.
The
in this.
actor
'Cause he
is
was in,
just.
well, dude, he was in the not CSI is not what I'm thinking of, but it was the Law and Order for a while.
I'm telling you,
Because
man.
he was one of the
Yeah.
detectives on Law and Order.
Yeah,
I've always
he
loved
was
that
good.
guy. He's
He-
great.
him-
him
Excellent.
playing as a father role and just some of the scenes he's been in lately. I mean,
He's got one of the best laughs and smiles, like
Yeah.
like fatherly laughs and smiles. He's
Yeah.
perfect at that.
I mean, he nails it.
Yeah, he
does.
does.
Everything about that's been going good. The only
The scene between him and Barry, when Barry tells him what's going to happen, is it's Jesse L. Martin.
thank you,
That's his name.
Jesse Martin.
okay.
Yeah, Jesse L. Martin. The scene between him, that was genuinely.
It was heartbreaking.
That was genuinely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And because he the Flash up to this point has been trying to figure out, like, is there any way around
Well,
this?
don't spoil.
I won't spoil it, yeah. But once we kind of understand, like, this is what's going to happen, what we've been seeing since day one of the Flash.
They just have their interaction there was perfect.
Yeah.
It's how a child would tell their father something bad's happening, and the father's response is just. I mean, it's what it should be.
Yeah.
You know.
That's good.
Yeah. They have been absolutely the highlight of this season.
The only show that I feel that's kind of faltering right now, and I feel bad for it because I didn't want it to. I didn't want it to fail.
Okay.
Batwoman.
Oh.
It is just hard to watch.
I heard. So look, I don't watch the current seasons of TV because I can't stand commercials. I'm spoiled on Netflix. I can never go back. And I've
you go
heard.
back?
No, I could never go back.
Okay.
I heard some really really bad things about the first episode, and like from strangers I
Yeah.
don't even know. I was somewhere in a store and I was wearing my Adam West
Yeah.
T-shirt that I
Thank
had.
you for that, by the way.
And you're welcome. And somebody looked at me and they're like, "Did you see the Wonder Woman thing on Fox the other day?" I was like, or wherever it was on WB, and I said, "Oh no, man, I didn't watch it." And he goes, "Oh, dude," and he proceeds to basically say it was. I just go off.
It's
And he's telling a perfect
you mean
stranger.
Batwoman, by the way.
Yeah.
Batwoman. Yeah, he's Batwoman. He's telling a perfect stranger how bad it was, and I was like, "Damn, this must be really bad for
It
you
is.
Yeah.
to be approaching me in a random grocery store."
And here, Rose,
Something.
she's not bad. The costume's good. Her acting is good. Everybody around her is just.
Well, the chick who
writing,
plays, the chick who plays
just,
Alice is good. Everyone, okay. So here's my problem, right?
I love this.
So again, we agree. The costume is one of the best Batman costumes I think.
Batwoman.
Absolutely.
Well, no, it starts off as Batman's
Oh,
costume.
gotcha,
and then becomes
Batman. Okay.
But overall, I mean, there's a lot of things I like about the costume. The actors, I think, are doing a great job in their roles. Well, okay.
Is there's
There's
no
some
chemistry on? There's
There
no
is
chemistry
zero
between them?
chemistry. And here's the problem. While Rose does a good job of the acting, her character still comes off as a spoiled brat. It's just so poorly written.
They wanted
and
to.
conceived.
They wanted to mimic the first season of Arrow so bad.
Yeah.
That they're making the same pitfalls in the first 4 episodes of Arrow that they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're sticking to their guns on it, and that's what irritates me. It's like
we've already seen
you
this
gotta
before.
learn, and you just we've already seen it. Give us something new. I don't know.
Is that the theme of this show? We've already seen it. Give us something new.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Because that's gonna be all right. So anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but speaking of something new, they also ordered a pilot for a new Superman
Yeah.
show.
Really?
Based off of the
Superman and
Tyler, what's his last name?
I couldn't pronounce it.
Anyway,
If
based
I
off the
tried.
Supergirl Superman that we got, which is a good Superman. His
Yeah,
costume
he's
is good and
great.
everything else. But
Yeah.
they're going to pilot that for next
So
season
Superman
as well.
made an appearance in Supergirl.
He's made season appearances.
Oh,
Like every
okay,
season,
okay.
except for the first season
Yeah,
of
except for
Supergirl, he's been in it.
Okay.
He's been in a couple of the crossovers as well.
Okay.
So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. But as far as Batwoman, they got to change something. Something has to give
Pretty
because
quick,
this
'cause
is
it's-
this is bad.
And here's where it lost me, right? Not this last episode. It was either not the last episode, but the episode before last.
How many are you in now at this point?
Whatever they're up to now. I've lost count. It's bad. Anyway,
Fair enough.
because I want to try and give a series at least a couple of episodes, because that first episode is always a little wobbly. Then you try and give them something.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 scenes where she is literally standing there next to Alice, who's the big bad for the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talking to her. There's no, if you catch me, I'll push this button and a bus full of school children will die. None of that conceit, right? Just they're sitting there talking. All she has to do is walk up to her and punch her in the face, and this big menacing threat goes away.
Was the big menacing threat equal to her in power in some way?
No,
No.
the thing is it's related to her, and so that's
It's supposed to be
the
her
draw.
sister.
They want to
Okay.
play it very
All right,
very
all right.
Shakespearean,
I
and it
gotcha.
doesn't come off that.
No,
Well,
it
but-
comes
at all.
off,
Look,
it
even-
makes Rose come off even worse.
Even some of Shakespeare's good stuff is maddeningly infuriating.
Yeah.
If you read or watch Othello and you
Yeah.
cannot abhor jealousy, it will make you want to tear your eyes out
Yeah.
and stuff them in your ears so you can't hear yourself gurgle to death.
Which is exactly what I do whenever Jason starts to sing a tune.
Anyway. But yeah, no, like I said, the problem is we've seen all this before. We've seen it done better before. And it's not good. It's just not well
bad.
written. They have something, and like my big problem is where's the GCPD in all this?
Yeah, the
It's
police
like this
department's
entire-
non-existent.
Yeah, there's no police department at
No
all.
Gordon, no nothing.
Do they? So they don't even like mention Gordon at all,
No.
or talk to him, or
The
anything like that. I've
GCPD
dropped some
has
stuff.
never been mentioned in the
Interesting.
show.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right now it's like everything's
Yeah,
being run by
right,
the pros.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Which
anyway,
is this
I'm
private security firm. It's
we're
weird.
done with that one.
Why did they make that choice? Why did they not?
It's never.
Like you guys have any insight into the writers? I mean, I guess
I don't know.
why I'm asking.
I'm
going to
go with bad drugs.
Well, my only thought.
This
is
is
that
all
there-
you think about.
This is
your
all I
thought.
think about. Yes.
Okay.
No, I've gotten rid of
Morning,
everything
noon, and night. He's
That's
just to think
Batwoman.
about why Gotham City Police Department isn't in Batwoman.
okay.
No, I'm wondering if there isn't some sort of a rights issue over the GCPD and the characters in there.
I'll tell you what. I
Well,
think
I love
they
that he
did.
shakes his head no, like he doesn't know.
No.
Like he was like,
No,
no,
because
I've talked to the executives yesterday. They said
I
there's no
did.
problem."
I did, and this is what I think. I think they wanted
Have
to
you
make
seen his
this.
house?
Yeah,
Shut up, both of
possible.
y'all.
that's
But
true.
I think what it was is they felt like they wanted to kind of come off of No Man's Land.
What do you mean?
It's a comic book arc in Batman where basically everything, and even to a point, Dark Knight
very much
Rises
is- yeah,
comes
has
from that,
that.
the movie,
Yeah.
where the cops disappeared when Batman disappeared. Everything went dark. They haven't seen Batman in 2 years, 3
Yeah.
years in this episode.
The city kind of falls to its own
So they-
devices.
Privatize the police force, and
Okay.
this is what we get. I think
Okay.
that's what they're going for. They're trying to go for,
Mm-hmm.
but without really talking about that, it
Making
doesn't.
that a huge plot
It
point.
doesn't
yeah.
make any sense.
Yeah.
So that's the problem that we have with that. But I will, on the other hand, Titan
That-
season 2, killing it. Have you seen any of that?
I haven't seen.
You
it.
gotta watch. I'm just all
I
I'm
don't-
gonna
I don't-
say.
it's
Watch
all-
it.
it's
It's
only
gonna
on
move
DC,
to HBO
isn't it?
Max anyway.
Well, it's gonna be on HBO Max. They're moving everything.
'Cause DC
again,
yeah.
I don't have these things.
We know.
We know. Yeah,
Um,
the DC universe is going away.
I don't have cable or satellite
I don't
and all
either.
these other things you have.
I don't either.
I don't have my own personal servants or the moat. I don't have any of that stuff.
All I've got are antennas for the hangers where you
No, you don't.
foil.
No, you don't.
You act like you've been to the house. Oh yeah.
I stood outside and picketed, but you wouldn't let me in.
because you picketed.
Well,
We don't do that with those people.
I don't know.
But no, it's Isai Morales as Deathstroke. It's perfect.
Wait, is
Really?
he the guy from
La Bamba. Richie. He was
Yeah, that was him.
he was the Jackass brother,
Yeah.
really
and he plays Deathstroke. And let me tell you,
interesting?
he nails that character and how.
not know that.
Remember a long time ago, Jason, when we were growing up, when we said, you know what comic books are missing? Isai Morales playing some type of hero or villain.
Uh huh.
We actually had this conversation.
Oh yeah.
And doggone it, man, he nails it.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Did this really happen?
Yeah.
You really had a conversation
Oh, we
about
had a little-
this?
We've had
It was
look-
about 20 years ago.
Yeah. We used to, back when Wizard used to was a thing.
I
Yeah.
used to
They
buy
used,
it.
Yeah, they used to have those Dreamcast.
Oh, the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did Danzig as Wolverine one time,
Right.
and they
Yeah.
correctly cast Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
Everybody knew that was going to happen.
Yeah,
but
so yeah, no, this Isai Morales as a comic book character did show up, but again, I don't think we picked Deathstroke.
Yeah, we just said in general he would
Yeah.
he would
He should
play
be- he would be
he should
good.
he should play somebody.
Interesting.
And he's nailed it. I mean,
Yeah.
he absolutely has nailed it.
No,
but
it's good.
again, that's going to go to HBO Max. They announced a new Green Lantern show that we're getting on HBO Max,
Yep.
which is going to be their new streaming service where most of the DC universe seems to be going to after this.
Odd, because I mean, so what? Did their DC streaming service just didn't make it, or what?
The
What happened?
DC streaming service only focusing on DC, that was their problem.
Yeah,
But then, are we going to see that same thing coming from a Marvel or a Disney aspect?
Well, that's called
Disney
Disney.
I mean,
Plus.
sorry, Disney Plus. Right. Are we going to see that same thing? Do you think happen from that? Like, is this a bad move for companies to
I think it is.
try this?
I think
I personally
Personally.
have been. I think it's stupid because I'm like, I get it. You guys want your piece of the pie and you want to make more money off for what you're doing, but I kind of feel like it limits Because who's going to want to? They're going to be. Aren't these people going to be upset? You know, going to be like, why do I have to go pay for a whole nother service? It was fine when it was on Netflix.
Right. Well, I think that's personally that's the prediction I make is that there's going to be too many of them.
Well, here's the thing. It's
And
HBO.
Well, if they definitely all go, if there's everybody trying to cash in on that aspect, then yeah, there's going to be.
But
tons.
that's
We
that's
made our-
HBO,
like,
though.
we cut Netflix, and now I'm just on Hulu and Amazon Prime.
Right, and so I don't have Hulu. I just got the other two. So I think everybody can kind of like justify keeping two.
Exactly.
But it's when you get into these multiples.
But that's the thing, though, with HBO
Unless
Max.
you're on Verizon.
Right.
If you're on Verizon, you get at least Disney
Plus free for the first year.
For the first year.
Look at that, man.
Thank you, Verizon.
Appreciate that.
No problem. Hey,
Yeah.
as soon as we saw it, like we were seeing, she goes, "Oh my God, look at this!" I was like,
We're gonna post this.
share, immediately share this."
Oh my gosh. No, but it's look, HBO. We knew that was coming because Warner Brothers had been talking about, hey, we're going to pull this. We're going to eventually have our own streaming platform. It just didn't know that it was going to be under quote unquote HBO Max.
Right.
But that looks to be where all of their, the Warner Brothers are going to be putting their stuff on, which it's we're going to see more of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I do
know,
see that.
I know.
So.
If they could get the idea behind the whole a la carte cable option where you could put together, and they tried. I mean, they tried this in like the early 2000s.
Well,
where
Sling still does it.
No, I know Sling
Yeah.
does it, but I'm talking about I'm talking about Time Warner or AT&T.
Right.
Somebody where you go, look, this is here's what the channels I want. I will pay you for these, and I will pay you for these. But if they do that, they're never going to get their revenue in advertising, and therefore they're never going to keep the stuff.
And here's the thing,
it's
like-
a model that doesn't work. Apparently.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I think the real issue, like with a real solution to this, would be CW saying, okay, look, we're going to have our 24 episode seasons of these shows, but we're going to do a series of miniseries. Right, that's really where I thought Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should have been, where it's like we're going to do a series based on miniseries, and it's like we're going to do Titans, and we'll do Doom Patrol, and just make it edited, for TV, so I don't have to look at what's his face's butt.
That narrows it down. Thank you.
Well, exactly, really for Doom Patrol. Brendan Fraser. I just don't want to see Brendan Fraser's butt. I'm sorry. That's
Why
just
not?
me.
It's Brendan Fraser. He's a hot.
I
dude.
love Brendan Fraser.
He's a hot
I do
dish.
not want to see his. Not anymore, dude.
Well, he's a little.
Yeah.
Dude, he went through a lot of stuff.
I know he did. No, I understand.
Kind of a jerk, man.
No, look.
You understand what this man went through?
Way to kick him when he's down.
I
Jeez,
can
Jason.
He's doing great. I can appreciate
He's
everything
doing
he
great.
went through. I can appreciate everything that he went through and still not want to see his butt crack. That's all I'm saying.
When you have Tom Cruise come back and remake your movie, you're probably not doing that great.
Ooh, yeah, but look at how well The Mummy has held up versus.
I think that solidifies my point, sir.
Anyway,
By the way, hey Sarah,
hey,
Hey there.
we miss you.
no, but I mean, doing a series of miniseries where it's like, hey, instead of doing one show for 24 episodes, where I think a lot of shows don't really have that much material, do an 8-episode run or a 10-episode run of one story. You have a whole new cast, whole new whatever.
This is akin to some of the shows that are done in overseas. I
Yeah.
mean, Japan does this.
Yeah.
Britain does. All the other countries do that format.
Right, where you have a
they
series.
you get a
Yeah.
series. It's short. It's 1, maybe 2 seasons long at best, and they're short.
Mm-hmm.
And you only get that group of characters for this point, and then they change the whole thing up and they do a whole nother run of people.
And they kind of did this with Justice League Unlimited, where they just.
Oh
said,
yeah.
It's like we have this giant, group
Yeah,
of heroes.
swath of characters to pull
Let's
from.
pull all of
Yep.
them, and we can mix and match them.
Yep.
In fact, that's really what I thought Legends of Tomorrow should have become. Where
Oh,
it's like,
that would have been great if they'd done that. That
Instead
would have
of
been really
doing
nice.
that
Always the
Time Bureau.
rotating cast.
Yeah, that Legends of Tomorrow, and
Which
they're
they're trying. I mean, they are trying.
I know, but the premise of that alone lends itself to the whole idea. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going through in time traveling. You could drop people off and pick new ones up the entire time you wanted.
Yeah,
Wouldn't make
and
a
it's like
difference.
once you were done with Vandal Savage and even really season 2, the whole Time Bureau thing was I think the big mistake because they kept wanting to do the period
dude,
pieces.
It was the whole time I was watching. All I could think of was stop trying to be Doctor Who.
Yeah,
That's the whole thing I thought of was you guys are Time Lords. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop doing that. Leave that to the British and you do your own thing.
yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of things they could have done, but I think they could have become something like a Justice League Unlimited, where it's like we're going to have a few key members who are here all the time, but it's like, hey, look, here's Hot Girl, here's Plastic Man. Let's explore the.
He goes with Hot Girl. He goes with Hot Girl and Plastic Man.
Uh huh.
Okay.
No, Kid was like, as she goes, he survived Deadly Do Right. Damn it.
That's right. He did.
Hey man, give the
He
kid
actually
give
did.
the kid some credit.
Wait,
man.
did he?
gave
But
him
did he
credit.
survive Dudley Do Right?
That's
to
what
then,
I'm saying,
To then
considering what
to then
happened.
go on and do Tarzan, or
I
did
mean,
he
he
do Tarzan
did.
first and then Dudley
He did.
Do Right?
It was George of the Jungle, and he did that first.
Oh, he did that first.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that guy.
I
Brendan
love
Fraser
him.
was fantastic.
I always wanted him to be
He made
Superman.
it. What Encino Man? I mean, come
Oh,
on.
exactly.
Well, first
He
off,
outclassed Pauly Shore. I'm sorry, I couldn't get through that statement.
yeah.
Couldn't get through that.
Look,
Not-
I wanted him to
not
be
hard at all.
Superman back when he was in his prime. I thought he would have made a great Superman.
and he would have made. No, I do.
No.
I agree with that. No,
I don't know, man.
your choices were him and Nicolas Cage. I'd rather have a Brandon Fraser Superman than a Nicolas Cage
I'm
Superman.
seeing that face that Nicolas Cage makes all the time with his eyes all up and that and his like super receding hairline as standing in the suit. I don't know, it makes me chuckle. It's also very scary.
Put the bunny down.
That's
Why didn't you just put the bunny down?
Why didn't
Okay,
you just put the bunny
so
down?
speaking of putting things down,
Oh,
Terminator Dark Fate.
yes.
Please, for the love of God,
Stop making these movies.
Stop making
put
these
this
movies.
franchise to bed.
Stop
Just
making
let
movies.
it
Look,
Hey,
if-
you know what? The next time you have an idea, let it go. Because
I would say if look, the world itself.
I'm done.
If they want to do more stuff in the vein of this world, don't do another Terminator story.
but they didn't. It's okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I disagree. They did the exact same story. They just swapped all the characters.
And made it bad.
Let's talk about this.
No, this is the ultimate reboot of a franchise
Oh, it is.
I've ever heard. I mean, actually, it's funny.
And
I haven't
done-
seen it, but I've
Okay,
watched.
hold on.
I've watched
Okay, we're
so
gonna
many
disagree on
things.
this.
I've watched so
We're-
many things on this.
We're gonna go
And
ahead and
it's-
start this, and I want to do this.
Let
Jason,
him,
did you?
Hold on. Let him talk first. Because I want to hear. He's making a great point,
No,
and I
it's just-
actually agree with him on it.
I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
I've seen so many reviews because I knew I wasn't going to go watch it. When I
Right.
started seeing, and I was kind of surprised. I saw a lot of praise, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Rotten Tomatoes is at 66%,
well,
Yeah.
and that's funny because 2 days
which
ago,
is considered fresh.
that's funny because 2 days ago it was 86%.
Yeah.
So that shows it's
Now,
declining.
is that the
But
reviewers or the people?
I don't know. I just saw that Rotten Tomatoes.
Keep
86.
talking.
Yes.
Anyways, so I saw a lot of praise for this movie, but then everyone I've talked to specifically or spoken to, they're like, "Man, this movie is awful." And like, you know, people are like, "I wish I." Somebody told me they were glad they didn't pay any money to see it,
I don't know who that was, but
That's
that could have
me.
been us.
and then other people have said, "I want my money back," kind of thing. But the overarching thing that I hear that I gleaned from myself on my own was that, look, you took Kyle Reese and you replaced him with Grace, right? So
Yeah.
Mackenzie Davis,
something, yeah.
which, by the way, she was really good in the Blade Runner 2049 or whatever
Yeah,
it was.
she
She
was.
was really good in that.
Yeah.
I think she's got potential as far
She's
as an
even
actress
good in the
is.
film.
The film.
This film.
Oh, in this film. Okay.
Yeah,
sorry,
And
fair enough.
we'll talk about it.
So actors aside, anyways, they replaced Kyle Reese with her. They replaced Linda Hamilton with Natalia Reyes as Danny, basically. And then, you know, they just have Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger guiding these two newbies through the new Terminator, who, Gabriel Luna, by the way, what's his face? The
Ghost Rider?
Gabriel-
Thank you.
Okay.
Ghost Rider.
I was like, where's he's
Love
named him.
no, I love him as an actor. I think he's like real, like, you know, he's not as full on par with Jason Momoa because Jason
Right.
Momoa is he's hot.
He really
He's hot.
is.
But
he's hot.
This guy's really good. I like him. I like him as an actor. His role as Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was
Oh, he was
fantastic.
excellent.
That's,
Yeah.
that's probably the best they had.
But all they did was take the same story and replace the characters.
So I love how in depth you're going, and you didn't watch it. Now you and me are the same. We do not want spoilers whatsoever. If it's a movie that we're
Oh yeah,
excited
sorry.
about,
Spoilers.
spoilers,
Yeah.
and we're going to spoil it. But trust
I'm
us,
gonna
we're
have to-
we're
not
saving
spoiling
you. We're saving you
anything
from
for
this.
Don't spend your money. on
D-
this.
don't spend your cash.
Well, maybe
But this is
spend
the
your
first
cash
one
if
that
you
we're
want
like,
something.
hey, me and Jason have watched
Actually,
it.
Watch it, but wait till it comes on Redbox or Netflix.
Netflix.
Or catch a matinee.
No.
No.
Hold on.
But-
we're going to disagree on that. Continue,
That's
please
fine.
continue with your
But to Sean's,
mouthing.
Sean
I
was
haven't even
like,
seen this movie, but I watched all these reviews.
And
And
Sean
I'm
was
like,
like,
it's
I'm
the
not
same
doing it.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
and here's the problem. It took no, I'm going to start with this. Did you like it?
Let me start with...
No, just
hold
yes
on.
or no.
It's-
It's a yes or no.
It's not.
Yeah,
that's my problem. It's not a yes or no answer. It's an enjoyable film. It's long. The stuff in the middle with the border crossing, I could have done without.
What is that all about?
Oh,
Is that
dude.
not a political?
Dude, this whole movie's political.
The whole movie is political. There's a message throughout the whole thing. But I don't want to even touch on that aspect of it. I just want to touch on the grounds of a movie, and it's long. They could have cut that whole thing out. They could have just had him cross the border. He could have infiltrated the border patrol to get out.
You're skipping the point, dude.
Okay,
Get
my
to
whole
the point.
is, it's enjoyable. It's an action film. It's not a good Terminator film.
It's not a good movie.
Hold on. And here's where it gets worse, is that it sets up an endless, repetitive cash grab stream of...
Thank you.
Great. We're
Thank
done
you.
with these characters. They've changed the future. Now we can get a whole... And we've pushed Judgment Day down to a whole new AI system that's going to send Terminators back to kill a whole new set of people. That is literally what we have set up.
All they've done is
Ad
replace.
infinitum.
No, they replaced every single villain and hero with a new.
Except Sarah Connor.
But that's who Danny is supposed to represent.
No.
But she's all right. Hold on. Given she's not the mother of anyone, she's just the resistance leader, which also kind of selfish. We're not going to save the future anymore by having this loving bond of somebody who's going to watch over someone else and foster a relationship with them. No, it's all on you right now and you alone.
So let's talk about this, because this is where we are going to disagree.
Yeah.
In the first 5,
This is where we're gonna
this is where we're going to disagree. The first 5 minutes of this film, 5 minutes,
It's a
just
flashback, pretty much. Right?
shits all over the
Yeah,
Terminator
yeah.
franchise.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah.
I will watch Genesis now with a brand new affection,
I still haven't seen it.
and I gotta tell you,
I liked it.
Genesis wasn't bad. It just wasn't great either, and the acting was hard. Here, I have no problems with any of the actors. They're all good actors except the one who played Danny. I thought she felt out of place, but every other one they brought it to it.
So
But the first 5 minutes, they kill John Connor.
yeah,
They kill him. They
Yeah.
just straight up kill him.
Yeah.
We're no longer talking about John Connor.
yeah.
And my thing is if you're going to do that, then just reboot the series. Call it something else. Don't do this soft reboot with everybody else coming in. Do a hard freaking reboot. Skynet, no longer there. It's now Legion,
That's also true.
right?
Yeah.
Sarah Connor,
Well,
if
because-
you're going to kill the past, like in The Last Jedi,
Yeah.
then kill it. But no, Sarah Connor's still Sarah Connor and is leading now Danny into the next part of that franchise. Now, whether
sure.
Sarah Hamilton comes back or not is a different story.
Linda Hamilton.
Sorry.
But
Sarah
essentially,
Hamilton.
yeah.
Anyway,
She becomes... Danny becomes the new John, and Sarah is gonna train.
Okay, fair
Danny
enough.
to become John.
That's true.
Yeah.
She becomes the new John. That's a better representation than the
Yeah.
fact that she becomes the Sarah Connor in the.
Right.
But I was thinking of this in the roles themselves from
Yeah, no,
T1.
you weren't
right.
wrong. Yeah, you weren't wrong.
So
It's
from
just yeah.
T1. I mean,
Yeah.
Danny is Sarah
And-
Connor,
yeah.
and
And you could,
Grace is Reese. That's
Right.
how it is. So.
and here's again, it's not bad acting. All of these people are believable in their roles, but it's just a bad story.
All right. The one thing, again, I haven't just real quick, because this is the only thing that I actually found intriguing and I thought was really a good idea, was the fact that Grace is a superhuman. She's
Yeah,
altered,
she's enhanced.
She's an altered, enhanced human, right? Basically, and not in the Marvel on the not on the TV way.
Yeah.
Not in CBS's eyes, but they actually physically modified her with
Yes.
mechanical
Yeah.
enhancements. But what I thought was so cool was they're like, okay, we can do this and we can modify you, but you're going to have to run on stimulants and drugs and all these other things
Yeah, 'cause we're jacking with
we're
your body.
jacking you up. You're
Yep.
only going to be able to handle as much as you can until you pass the F out. And I loved that as a point of realism. Because
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
When they put something in that's fairly believable, you're like, you know what, that's actually a really good idea. I think that's a fair aspect. I thought that was a really cool
Okay, let me
piece
list the
of her
things
character.
let me list the things that I liked about it, because that's a really good point.
Yeah, I know there's things in this that are good, and I
Yeah.
think that one for me was the most intriguing to learn that her character has limitations.
Yeah.
It's the whole reason I love Marvel characters.
Right.
Rogue can't touch anybody. Like all these things
Cyclops
that people
has to wear the visor.
He has to wear the visor all the time.
Iron
all these
Man's
people.
drunk.
Yeah, I thought that was Wolverine.
Yes.
Both.
And then Professor X is crippled from the waist down. I mean, like, everybody has these limitations, and I love the fact that she has those. It makes the character more real and believable by grounding them.
So the things that I think the movie actually got right. Let me rephrase this.
Yeah.
And the ideas that they presented that I really liked was, and then we'll get to the point where Ray and I really disagree.
Stop teasing it.
I like like you said, I like Grace being enhanced. Because for the because that was sort of the question I had the first time. I get like in the first one when they send Kyle Reese back, it's like, okay, they didn't have time. Like it just happened. They realized what was going on. They had to try it. And they just sent
They're
back
like,
to save
we
him.
got to send you back.
Yeah. Whereas this one's like, okay, we're going to send you back to fight this thing, and they even have them in the future, right? But they're like, one of the things they bring out is like, if you don't kill one of these Terminators in like the first 30 seconds, it is going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Like they make it's like
because you don't have the energy to continue to.
Well, it's not even that. It's like, it will figure out how to kill you.
Yeah.
Like they're okay. And let me say this. This is by far the most.
That's not what she said.
That's exactly what she said.
That is not what she said. She said that they have to kill because their power supply, they'll pass out.
Yeah, they
so
will.
they have to. But
Yes,
that's not
but
because they're going to figure out how to kill you.
Well, hold on. No, it's not because she expressly says that yes, they're good for a certain amount of time because that's all their body can take. But they do mention that if you don't kill these things almost immediately, they will kill you. And we even see it in the flash forward for her, where one of these Terminators is just tearing these things apart. Gabriel Luna's Rev 9 is the most terrifyingly powerful Terminator we've ever seen.
So hold on. With that in mind, and I'm sorry to stop you in the middle of because
Yeah,
I know we're going to get to this teasing thing where you and Ray disagree on things. But the whole Rev 9 idea. So he is not a T-800 or anything. He's not just bare bones, but he does have an he has a skeleton underneath, but he's also covered in the T-1000 liquid metal as well. And at one point, he does split himself into two entities to attack them.
He's a cross between the T-1000
and the T-800.
Yep,
right.
So they can combine to have the best of both worlds, and then when he needs to, you see them become two different entities.
Okay, how did he manifest a gun in that one scene?
I asked myself the same question. I think he actually hid the gun in
his liquid.
Yeah,
because how did he where? And wouldn't you have seen it travel down his arm?
It shows.
He's holding a bag.
But the gun's not in the bag, and if you notice in that scene, the gun forms.
Well, see, that's what I thought too. I thought he was forming the gun. I'm like,
I've seen it twice now.
Okay,
because he doesn't. As far as I understand, he doesn't form any other weapons besides the normal blades and stuff, like the T-1000 did throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Now he does do this amazing thing where he travels along a piece of rebar out of a windshield onto the hood of a moving truck, which, in my opinion, is nothing more than just cinematic BS. Because why? Just climb out the window. Like, you didn't get there any faster. Because I watched it happen. I was like, I'm seeing you move along this rebar, but you're not moving.
Because the other part of him's still driving the truck.
Yeah.
There we go.
So it splits.
Okay,
so it's two separate.
So that's when he separates.
And that's when you realize there are two separate Terminators in one.
One. Okay.
So that's all.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, the endoskeleton gives it the strength and rigidity.
Gotcha.
And so it's like in a fight, but he can still do the knifey things. The knife hands.
The knifey things.
Yeah,
the knife hands.
Yeah, and he can become like a little porcupine, like which they do actually.
I would kill to see that Terminator movie.
Yeah, knifey hands.
Knifey hands.
All right, so I didn't mean
karate chop action.
Didn't mean to interrupt the whole thing. What else? Did I completely derail you, or did you keep going?
No, we're fine. So I like the fact that she was enhanced because this is the first time they've really been where she can go toe to toe with a Terminator.
Yes,
for a little bit.
We're
for
human.
A
little bit.
Exactly. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
And it's. And I like that aspect. I like the aspect of being able to know when a temporal vortex is going to open. That's something that they establish is that when you
only if you're from a different timeline.
Because she's getting the texts, right?
Kinda.
Okay.
One of the elements, if there's a temporal rift, it makes a time wave, and you can kind of know when someone's going to show up.
If you're from that timeline, time wave.
Well, hold on, but that's the whole point.
Now, if he does it in a minute.
I'm not going to do it.
It comes back around. No, but that's the time way. You ruined the joke.
I saw
well, have you not met Jason?
I have met him.
Okay.
I'm rejecting.
Thankfully, I've still never ridden where he's driving the car.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, sleeping the car.
Yeah. Okay, Ray's
By
missed
the
this.
way,
Anyway, the
Uber nap.
Breakfast this morning was
Yes.
delicious. I had some egg and barbacoa.
I would
taco.
rather talk about your breakfast than this movie. That's how bad this movie sucks. Okay, to be fair to Jason, though, I'm going to say this.
Okay. There were elements that I liked about it, and I'm even okay with them killing John Connor. Because here's what I see this as: T1, T2, then this one, and then I would see this as the Cameron arc is done, right? Because they are changing. She survived. She changed the future.
Did Cameron direct this? Or
No.
did he
No, he produced it.
So
And
And even that is
It's debatable.
he didn't actually have any specific writing credit or
Nope.
any.
No, he's listed as part of the story.
Okay, so he had a little bit of input onto how things
Yeah.
were going to go, but he didn't direct it.
No.
Nope.
He didn't write it.
No.
Nope.
He didn't actually produce it, even though he's credited with some. He put up some of the funding for the movie.
Nope.
Not at all.
No.
How did he do this then?
He got the rights. They got the rights back because after I think copyright ended in 17 or 16, that gave him the rights to the Terminator back. Full
So
rights.
then they had to credit him as a producer
But-
to get the movie out.
The company who's putting it out
Yeah.
turned around and said, "We understand you have the rights. We just want to license it."
Smart
Smart businesses
that's
smart
Yeah.
smart business. Because
Yeah, I know something. A little bit of,
Yeah.
he gets paid for it,
It is a
and he
little
doesn't
bit.
have to worry about any of the losses,
That's
which
true.
surely this movie will have.
That's true. If you need a license to keep your company running, that's not a bad idea.
And I'm saying
not.
this. I'm saying this to just say to get the point across. The Joker is still hanging around the top 3 as long as it's
yeah.
been in
I
there,
haven't seen it yet.
and
man.
I believe outperformed Terminator's Friday Night just this weekend.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's just this to talk about what you said
Okay.
about the fact that it's a good action movie.
Have you made all your points about what you liked?
But what I liked, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it a good action movie? It's a standard action movie,
But it's not a blockbuster.
It's not a blockbuster to
No,
me.
it's
this
fun.
is
That's about it.
This is nothing. If this was on Netflix, I'd watch it and be like, cool. You know, I wouldn't be like, oh man, this was epic, blah blah blah. The problem I have with this though is
It's no Guardians 1.
since
No.
right since 1984, you've spent this time building up the mythology of Connor, and even with Genesis, you still had that mythology of Connor in place. No matter how loose it was, it still existed.
By a thread, man.
This one just gets rid of it completely. Like, Connor's not... We don't need Connor. Well, then what the heck was the other two? Like, for them saying this is a true spiritual
this is-
continuation
now-
of T2, so what we're going to do is we're going to kill off the main character from there.
Now, we're only talking about the story as a substance.
Correct.
We're not talking about anything politically motivated.
I'm not talking
Or
about any of that
anything
right
else.
now.
We're only talking.
Just
we are only talking about the fact that
Just the franchise.
the idea behind the whole story,
Correct.
has been this.
This
It
is
has-
where we disagree.
And the fact that the destruction of the story to this, you get to this point, and when you just chop that off, now you're like, well, then what was the whole point of the last 2 films?
And what's the whole
Which,
point?
I mean, you could say the last. What is this? This is
That's
actually
6.
6.
Yeah, this is 6.
But that's my
So,
thing, though. The last 3
I mean-
films, it doesn't matter if you're going to sit there and say if you're truly sitting there saying Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 are so important to us, and we want to follow that, and we want to honor it.
Why didn't you
then
expound
you don't,
on John Connor?
or you have him going through the whole movie and then you kill him. You don't kill him as a throwaway nod,
Yeah.
just to say,
Oh, by the way, what
Connor
they did
existed.
They did that in like the first 5 minutes as
5
a like
minutes.
pre-credit scene, right?
Dude,
Pre-credit scene.
pretty much,
Pretty much, yeah.
pretty much.
Like they're on a beach.
Yeah, in Guatemala.
And
It's
the
the-
Terminator shows up. A T-800 shows up
Yeah.
and kills him.
Carl
Which
shows
is-
up.
Okay,
Carl.
It's actually Carl.
Carl.
Hold on, that's the other thing I like is that they established.
What?
Yeah.
Why are there so many
ostriches? That's one of the things I liked about this. That's the other thing that I did like is that they said, "Look,
Would you believe boat nectar?
I'm not saying in boat nectar, Carl.
Sorry.
no," is that they said, "Look, Skynet sent a bunch of Terminators back at different points throughout
I
the
like that.
timeline." That was
I
my
like
favorite
that.
part. Is,
Okay.
So that's again as an idea. I love that idea.
It's a great idea.
Right, it's a great idea.
Problem.
Okay.
How does one normal human being go around icing these Terminators that are showing up when it has taken like combined efforts of other humans and Terminators in the previous movies to destroy just a single one. How is she going around doing that?
So let me tell you.
Which, by the way, if any of those of you who don't know, and spoiler-wise, Linda Hamilton is getting texts of where to go find these Terminators that are showing up.
From Carl
to show up,
and
she kills them. She kills them throughout, like, that's her past. That's what leads us from the time John Connor dies to the time we're looking now at Danny, who is identified as the new leader of the Salvation.
Which is a plot hole, might I add, because if...
Oh, that's a plot hole?
It is a plot hole.
That's the only plot hole?
No, it's not. If Skynet no longer exists, why are these type of Terminators, the T-800s, continuing to come back?
That's not a plot hole.
Because the future...
Sure it is.
You're not thinking fourth dimensionally.
Because the future is inevitable.
The future is, but the Terminators have changed, and they made sure that they let everyone know the Terminators that were there for Skynet are no longer there. Legion has a different set of Terminators because of the advancements that we've made since 1984.
Yep.
So, why do T-800s keep coming back when the moment John is killed, they're not supposed to exist, with the exception of Carl?
Well, they were already in transit.
Maybe, hold on, maybe.
Not once they killed him.
Until Danny was born, right? Until she was born, the future hadn't changed. Because what they did, they solidified their future when they killed John, and they stayed the same.
But it never specified that there were new Terminators that she was hunting, and Danny was already born.
Well then, never mind. I don't know.
There you go.
Dude, that's the problem. Like, I was trying. I really tried.
He's thinking about this incorrectly.
Not to mention, this movie was written by what, like 5 people?
Yeah, it's a mess.
And it probably shows.
Yeah, it does.
It shows.
So here, and again, here's the thing. I like the idea that these other Terminators
Jansen,
are
I
still
hope you didn't want to see this movie.
Yeah, he certainly
and you really don't need to. Let me tell you.
Yeah, this is a red box at best. So here's the thing, right? If they're sending all the Terminators back at one time, and they're like, well, you go here at this time, you go here at this time, they were already in transit. They appear, the timeline hasn't shifted to them, right? Because they're all being sent back. But they're like, we're going to put you in a bunch of different places just in case as backups. So
hold on. Your claim is they sent them all at the same time, but they sent them 2 separate times.
Yeah, two separate times.
The moment that Connor's killed, that no longer exists.
Yeah, why are the Terminators coming back? What's the whole point of the Terminators? What are they coming back for?
It's not for Danny, because those Terminators no longer exist.
No, I'm not doing this to destroy any argument. I don't care about him. I don't care about him.
Nobody cares.
I know that's fine. I don't care.
No, I'm not. I'm actually being.
You seriously don't get this?
I know what you're saying.
A whiteboard.
I know what you're saying.
Hey,
but
I take offense to that, sir.
I know what you're saying, but that's lazy effing writing. I'm sorry.
Ray.
That is. I know it's Hollywood.
Ray.
They already reached. Yeah, I get it.
That's not what I was gonna say. There's 5 people writing on this. Of course, it's lazy writing. Everybody's trying to assert their own power.
Of course,
over the script.
And it shows. The only part that I genuinely loved
was loved.
I loved it, and I thought for the first time, I thought, you know what, that kind of makes a lot of sense.
I'm curious now.
Was the Arnie that killed John Connor?
Yes.
No longer has a mission.
Yes.
And he decided,
he ended himself.
I'm gonna.
That's it.
Live my life.
He says, I now understand why you cry. It's something I can never do.
Right.
That's a line from T2.
Yeah. Right.
And then he kills himself.
Yeah.
Right.
He destroys himself.
But in this one, though, after he does that,
he lives on.
And he gets an adopted family.
He does.
And he goes,
He's even got a dog, doesn't he?
He has a dog, and he even tells.
Which is a huge point. Yeah. That he's changed so much that the dogs don't bark at him.
Yeah.
That's a key point from all the Terminator
films.
Because
at the time, the dogs would bark at him.
That's because his model no longer exists, which he does mention as well.
Hold on. Yes, he even talks about how he killed John for a timeline that doesn't exist anymore. Even the new Terminators, the dogs bark at him. They make a point where all that's still valid.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to disagree on this because I think you're just not thinking fourth dimensionally.
Oh, Jesus
But
Christ.
no, I think Carl was the best part of the...
Carl was the best part.
Arnold,
Arnold, hands down, was the best part of this movie.
What about Linda Hamilton? Did she not do a decent job?
Arnold was the best part of this movie.
She does a decent job, but again, it's her interaction with Carl that makes it good.
You cannot trump her performance in T2.
No, you cannot.
Linda Hamilton delivered something that was stellar in that movie.
Arnold in this movie was the highlight of the movie, and he appears in the last 45 minutes.
Right, he's almost like a cameo.
It's really a glorified cameo.
Yeah, right.
But his whole part about, look, I killed John, and I never understood. He goes, and now that I've had this time
I understand.
to know, he goes,
Yeah.
I understand, and I
Right.
get why it hurt you,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry.
That's good.
Like, to sit there and have a Terminator go, I'm sorry.
That's weird.
It was weird.
That's weird.
But it made sense.
It made
given-
sense because he's
Yeah.
grown a conscience, and I love how he even says it. He goes, it's not a conscience as how you would see it, but yes, I've done that. So do you love your family? Not in the way that you can love, only in a way that I can understand in my interpretation of love. Like, he went out of his way to explain, I don't love these people, but I have an affection for them that only I understand.
I have an affinity that
Yeah.
I must do these things for these people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And which is actually an interesting point because they do go into the shed that's full of guns, right? It's also the best line in the movie. They're like, why do you have this? He goes, even with the destruction of Skynet, I calculate a 74% chance that humanity would fall. And I did this to protect my family. Followed by the
Plus,
followed by the greatest line is, plus this is Texas.
That's true because they do end up. It's Texas where they go to see him. Yeah, that's true.
And
They're in Laredo, yeah.
and it's not hard to watch this movie and understand every single quote-unquote subtle political overtones that they have. There's nothing subtle about it. They slap you in the face with their political agenda, and I don't like that.
Political and sociological thing
Yes.
with the chick thing because they every man is either
Look,
That's a
complete
really good
jerk.
thing to sit there and say the chick thing.
Yeah.
Well, you're proving him right, bud.
Part of the problem that I think the three of us and I think a lot of other people can identify with watching this movie, whether you're a man or a woman, is when it's forced upon you, when it's a forced agenda and not just a normal part of the story. You know, when you can clearly see somebody's going, you have to look at this, you have to see this. When it supersedes the plot, when it supersedes everything that you're at the substance, when that is completely hijacked by somebody going, look at this, you kind of go, man, you're ruining the movie for me, you know. And it's not because I disagree with that idea. It's just that it's like it's not organic.
Yeah.
And it was
Because I love when it's organic, the message actually is received better.
Right.
And
I
that's
think
the best
the
part.
Joker did it perfectly. I
know?
think you could argue there's a ton of different messages in the Joker.
Yeah.
But they
was
flow
part of the
naturally
story.
out of the story.
But and that's the thing is when it's
And I would-
when it's a natural message, the message itself is received so much more is more positively received than it is when it's a forced.
I would even
argue
argue that Captain Marvel did a
better
job at not
forcing the
showing
issue.
this.
Right.
Yeah.
But this,
Right.
and it's not just one aspect. It's a lot of different aspects that just
Yeah.
says, look at this. Why aren't you worried about this? Why aren't you concerned about it? Why aren't we
Yeah,
talking about it
there's-
right now?
and
Dude, I didn't come to see
it-
that.
It's because the agenda hijacks the actual underall arc of the story.
Right.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
does.
And it's a problem that a
And-
lot of
and then-
movies and television shows have.
And then it's missed.
Mm-hmm.
It's misinterpreted or it's received poorly, and somebody goes, "This is nothing more than an agenda that you're pushing on me," and they don't get it. Whereas if you were to naturally inject it into a storyline so that it fit in line with everything, people would get it, and they'd go, "I see this. It makes more sense to me.
Look,
I understand it. I feel it now." You know?
I'm brown, and I can say this more than you guys can. Sorry. But they absolutely made sure that every white male that was shown in this flick was either killed or put down
Yeah.
in some way. I mean, it was blatant. Like, I was even uncomfortable watching
Speaking of
some
which,
parts.
I heard that Gabriel Luna's Terminator was way more human than
He
any
is.
other Terminator.
Yes.
in-
And it was
be
effectively so,
and that
yeah.
was something that
Hold
made
on, though.
sense.
But effectively?
Yes.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
why?
Because they made him not so much that he cared about him, but what they made him is like, you've got to be able to blend. And all the other Terminators have never blended
That's true.
as
Because-
well.
Yeah, they
That's
were.
true.
But
They were
he-
more primitive.
He was
Yeah.
to the point of being nice.
Yeah, but-
right before he killed you. But he
didn't-
was nice.
Didn't that also kind of lend to the feel of those previous Terminator movies when you could clearly define the I'm sorry, but Robert Patrick's T-1000 was amazing. You had this menacing feel that this is the bad guy, not just somebody who plays whatever.
You're okay. I want to finish this conversation, then I'm going to talk about the one thing I didn't like, the thing that really ruins the movie for me. But let's finish this conversation because you're right. All the other previous Terminators were clearly the bad
Devoid
guys.
of emotion.
This guy,
and that
he appears-
separates them from them so much
Yes.
so
He
that
almost,
you can see it.
He almost has charisma.
Yeah.
No, I'm like,
That's,
No, he
seriously.
does.
No, I was just saying, that's just Gabriel
Except
Luna.
when
Yeah,
he's fighting.
that's just him,
Except
you
for
know.
when he's fighting. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Is when he's fighting, he's dead.
I know, he's shut off.
He
Yeah.
shuts off. Like when he's even talking to Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's like he drops the human side. He's like, why are you doing this? Like, he's genuinely sort of like...
He's like, dude, we're on the same side. What's going on?
He's puzzled.
Yeah, he's like, we should be on the same side here.
Yeah.
You're a robot. We're both machines here. Why
You're
are you
a robot.
helping?
I'm a robot. Let's do robot things. What's
Exactly.
going
You
on?
want to grab a beer?
Yeah.
Because that's what Carl does now.
Kill all humans,
Let's kill all humans. I mean,
Let's get the meat bags.
Exactly. But like you said, he is clearly a much more advanced machine than anything we've seen before, which is again why he's so terrifying. Like, which to me circles back to why I didn't like the movie. Right.
See,
aside from the political thing in the middle, which I could, I mean, like, I'm even done
that's
with that.
not
In the middle.
I disagree
It's
with
all
the
over.
idea that the more humanized machine is more terrifying, because I think the one that is humanized to the point where it understands, but it still doesn't care, but it also doesn't try to mimic any of the shit you're doing. That's more terrifying to me.
Well, his thing, and if I may,
Yeah, go for it,
I'm
yeah.
going to say this.
Yeah.
It's not that he's, again, it's not so much the charisma. The robot is understanding the fact that I got to have a little sarcasm built in. I got to have a little of this because if I want to
he
go,
does the whole my
Yeah.
whole weapon's a body or my whole body is a weapon.
but
as
even
he's putting his
but
guns
even
in
then,
there.
there's a lot more stuff to that scene where he's all like, hey, ask the ladies, blah blah blah, and he's trying because he needs to be able to get stuff through the metal detector, and so when the metal
Right,
detector
yeah.
goes off, he's like, metal hip out,
In
two
Afghanistan.
tours in Afghanistan, and they're like, oh well, thank you for I mean,
Thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was very much.
He is an infiltrator.
He's the perfect infiltrator.
It's the guerrilla warfare idea.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. You
So-
don't stick out like a sore thumb. You need to be able to kill these.
Yeah, and you got to be able to explain away, because he doesn't want to kill everyone. It's this whole thing like with the Terminator 2.
He's an assassin for a purpose.
Yeah, he was like, I just want to complete my mission, which that's what Carl said too. Once I complete my mission, and he specifically says it, I no longer had a purpose.
Yeah.
So I came out here. I found a purpose, my new family. Well, how did you even fall in love with her? Wouldn't call it love. Well, what was the deal? What made her special? Her ex-husband was abusing her and her
she
baby.
needed help.
And she needed help.
It was help he could provide.
Again,
Yeah.
and I would rather watch a movie on that.
Like that movie.
That movie would have been awesome.
That would
rather
have been a
see
much
that.
better
I would
movie.
rather
And that's
see
why I
that.
said every scene that Arnold's in is great on this flick.
This has
Yes.
been this. So that was my idea from the beginning. Is look, if they want to keep this universe is rich in opportunity if you know where to look for it.
Oh, exactly.
If they would keep that idea or do something along those lines, and not the Genesis, not the Salvation, not the other crap you've done leading up to this point, where all you focused on is a Terminator assassinating somebody. Do something different. Find a story. Make a story. And it doesn't have to be specifically a Terminator.
Right.
You can throw it in the future and be about the Resistance.
And I
you
can
can do
which is
whatever
what they
you
did
want
with
to do.
Salvation,
And-
which I thought worked. But here's
But don't do that switcheroo of, oh my
Right.
God, he's a Terminator.
But
Like,
you could tell that writer who did that part, you could tell they wanted to take the story in a completely different way.
Oh yeah.
And at the same time, you also felt that Arnold could not have been in that movie, and it wouldn't have affected the outcome. It really
Yeah.
wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just they were like, oh crap, we got Linda,
Yeah. We gotta have
and Edward Furlong. Which did you see how he's credited as?
no.
John Connor reference.
Oh wow.
But
I
that's
didn't
because
even
they
catch
had to
it.
CGI him
Yeah.
back to his younger
It's not
days.
him.
Yeah. It's
That's the
a
other thing.
different
It's a
kid.
different actor
that they
and a different voice actor that they pulled in for the 2 seconds of Spanish that he did
yeah.
right before they killed him. And that's why I sit there and say that this movie was disrespectful, because for the entire
That's the
time.
most Edward for a long
Long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Years.
But that's why it's disrespectful, because for the whole movie they keep
that's
going
awful.
for John. John would have been keeping him alive.
Okay.
Don't sit there and say that crap when you killed him in the first 5 minutes and now you want to honor him.
I disagree. As a story point, and then we'll get to the thing I didn't like about the movie.
I would hope so. We've
Yeah,
only
well-
got like no minutes left.
Yeah, I know. So I'm going to say this, then we'll hop out. I don't mind them killing John. It's again Ray's
mind them
limited too
killing
much.
John.
I don't mind it because the basic premise of the story is valid. They changed the future. But the problem is they didn't stop the ultimate problem, which is the rise of the machines. It's just a different machine, different time. Now it's a different story. But the Skynet thing, that's what they stopped. So I'm okay with that. The thing I didn't like about the movie is it's an action movie. Then the Terminator is a horror film. The first two are horror films. The
second one is
First
an action.
one.
No, the second one is a blockbuster. The first
well,
one.
the second one technically is a sci-fi blockbuster.
Right, it's sci-fi.
If we want to get
but it's still a horror
All
film.
right. No, it's not.
It's still
No, it's not.
It's
I'll
more of a
argue-
horror
I'll-
film.
The first one is.
The first
The
one.
first one
Okay.
was.
That's my thing. There's at least that feel. This has no horror film feel.
No.
And again, Gabriel Luna's
Look,
Terminator
remember.
could have been far more frightening.
Remember that James Cameron was coming off of, before he did T2, was
I know.
coming off of The Abyss,
Right.
which had just tanked and had been one of the most overblown budget movies he'd ever made. So what
Right.
did he do? He goes, you know what? I'm going back to Terminator.
I love that movie.
I love that movie too. But he's going back to Terminator and he's putting out a blockbuster because
Yeah.
he needs to recoup all
Well,
the money he just lost on the first one,
Yeah,
on the
but-
previous one.
but-
so that's why it was much more of a blockbuster. I mean, yeah, Guns
Right.
N' Roses.
Yeah.
As I mean, dude, come on.
I get that, but it's still
That was
still
a great
retained.
the shotgun with the
yeah.
quick underhand and the.
Yeah, there's none of that
get
here.
That. Yeah, there's none of that. Yeah,
There's none of
Well,
that here.
but that was gimmicky and it worked in the period that it worked in.
Works now.
Which is, hold on. My point is, it's still
No,
retained enough
we
of that
just
horror
feel
film.
nostalgia to
Never
watch
mind,
it.
we're done. We'll see y'all.
Jason's like,
By the way, Titan Comics. We didn't even mention them in the beginning.
brought to you by
Jeremy,
Titan Comics.
We're powered by Titan Comics.
This train wreck brought to you by Titan
For whatever
Comics.
reason, Jeremy wants to see more of this. I don't know why. Just, I'm done with these two. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Hopefully, we'll have something interesting. Maybe Ray will get his head out of his ass or something. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
gosh, I'm not
Hey,
going to support a movie that sucks.
if every-
This movie sucked.
If
It
ever-
didn't suck. It just wasn't a good Terminator
This movie
film.
sucked.
It was an action film. If they had called it
Pauly Shore should have been in this movie.
Mecánico de Muerto, we wouldn't care.
That's right, because it wouldn't be a Terminator film.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. If it wasn't Terminator, if it didn't
Where
go
can
with
they find
Terminator,
us,
it'd been
McLean?
fine. They can find us. You know what? Why would you bother to find us?
Where can they find us,
Don't
McLean?
find us. Leave us alone. This every 2 weeks I have to put up with this. Please stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are watching
Please
something
make it
interesting on
stop.
on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Disney Plus, whatever,
God.
hit us up with something you think we might like to review.
Every 2 weeks.
Where are they finding this, Sean?
They can find us on vagabondnerds@gmail.com. They
Shut
can
up,
find
McLean.
us on Facebook at vagabondnerds@facebook.com, something like
Yeah,
that. I
Yeah,
don't know.
just type in Vagabond Nerds, you'll find us.
You'll
the website's
find us.
still down.
Yeah,
We're still infected by
the
Skynet.
website is yeah.
No,
it's-
Legion.
you know,
Legion. Well,
Legion.
that's where Skynet's
Legion.
hiding until I let it out.
Check us out on YouTube,
Give the
Facebook,
sweet release of death.
every place you could find us.
Maybe
wherever. Just
maybe
search-
next
search
time
for
we
us.
won't have Jason on.
Yeah.
You know,
That'll
I'm just
be
saying
okay.
the nukes are just not a bad idea. Let's just start over.
Jansen, love you, buddy.
Dallas on air too, yeah, I suppose.
DallasOnAir.com as well. I don't do the outros.